Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 618 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Tapamalda, and I am joined today on this glorious Friday by Chris DeBona.
Hey.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Gentlemen, there's so little to talk about that's interesting today.
I don't know about that. We were just talking before the show about something
wrestling.
Very interesting. The future president, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
President
continuing
Dwayne.
on the tradition of Johnsons in the White House. Andrew Johnson, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and now President Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
No.
Yeah.
You're probably right. You're probably right. Well, I mean, what I think is weird is, like, there's been legit discussion. Like, people in non-ironic ways have talked about constitutional amendments over Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. I don't think he wants the job, honestly.
I think he's
you
smarter
did
than
okay
that.
job as governor. Honestly, you did.
No, he's smart enough to know that that is not a job that you should actually want.
Yeah. And wouldn't
So
it be nice to have a president who can do a really solid body slam off the ropes,
Yeah. The real
know?
real question is if The Rock's VP is going to be Jack Black or Hart, though, right?
Not Terry Crews.
Oh, Terry Crews would be awesome.
Yeah.
Dwayne Camacho.
Oh, Camacho. Oh, have you watched Idiocracy recently?
I actually watched it very recently. I still love that movie.
It gets better on every viewing, which is really sad.
It's so good.
All right, let's see.
I told you how I saw that, right? I was with Tammy. Do you remember Tammy?
I do.
I went to Atlanta and I was visiting. I was giving a talk there, and I was like, Tammy, you're in town. I'm in town. Let's go to dinner or something. And so we went to dinner, and then we're like, let's go see a movie. So we went to this movie theater, and it was closing. So the ticket office was closed, but Idiocracy was playing in the theater. And so
I didn't even know that movie like aired in theaters. I thought that was a weird
12
thing.
theaters.
Huh.
It was like 2 theaters because he had a contract saying they would absolutely show it, but they were just like, we're going to get sued so much. There is no way we can show this movie. But they're like, okay, well, you can do a 10 o'clock showing in the Atlanta Mall. You remember the one we went to back in 98?
We saw The Exorcist in that movie theater with you.
Yeah, but it turns out it's like a stack of theaters. So we went to the very top one, and the guy's like, you got a ticket? And we're like, dude, the ticket booth was closed. Can we just go to the movie? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, here. I put $40 in his hand. I was like, can I just pay you? And he's like,
yeah.
Of course.
And it was Idiocracy.
So you paid more to see Idiocracy than nearly any movie in your life?
Well, that was for 2 people.
Sure, but $20 for a regular feature film
like,
ticket?
But what about your change? And I'm like, it's okay. Thanks for letting us in. And he's like,
I really liked Office Space, so go ahead.
Yeah, it was really funny. So,
all right, let's see. Well, Chrome is
technically. Did I bribe somebody to see Idiocracy?
Technically,
yes, I did.
So
I told Mike Judge that story, by the way.
You
He's
made.
Like, oh my God, you're one of the 2 people who saw the movie.
Good. I watched that movie like the day it was acquirable online because I was so excited to see it, and it did not show in Michigan.
No, I can't imagine it did.
Chrome is adding an RSS button, thus undoing a decade of internet rage. It's all fixed.
I tweeted about this. I think that Reader has become Woodstock.
Totally.
It's a thing that people swear that they took part in. But I have the receipts.
I think you do, but also I have some experience with journalists, and every journalist that
loved it.
Look, I'm not talking about the mainstream. My argument about Google Reader is that there was a percentage of reporters, and it was a significant percentage of reporters.
You're absolutely right.
And they used Google Reader to get the headlines from the entire landscape, and they got those headlines unfiltered, unedited, unadjusted from any other, like any external source.
I know.
And then, hold on, let me finish, because this is the key here. When Google Reader went down, all of those suckers went to Twitter. And they had to, because Twitter was the next best thing. So instead of following the New York Times, you follow 7 writers. And so you go to Twitter and you get all of that other bullshit. And I stand by this because this is definitely 100% what happened to me. My news experience got more noisy, more cluttered, more personal, more emotional when I lost Google Reader. And I think that all the reporters then had their careers over time tied to their success on social media platforms. And so it transformed the media landscape over the course of a 2, 3, 4 year window into what gets Trump elected.
Yeah.
So thanks, Google.
Well, I mean, are you being honest? You're like, I know you like Twitter.
No, I think that I would not go so far as to draw causation. There is definitely correlation, and from every reporter that I've ever spoken to in my 3 years working next door to a major newspaper.
Oh no, it was absolutely the wrong audience to alienate.
Yeah, I think that it was apocalyptic.
Well, I mean, anyone worth their salt knew that was going to be a betrayal, you know? But I will say, it's been 10 years now, right? So it's like, at some point, how many reporters are really left from 10 years ago?
I mean, I'm following all of them still, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Where did we leave off? Cicadas?
We left
cicadas.
We left
lumber prices. We talked about lumber prices.
So I was just going to finish talking about the Chrome RSS thing. Chrome is adding a follow button. But what I wonder about that is, so that's going to then isolate all of that information into some sort of Chrome interface. So it's not going to be exportable into any third-party platform, presumably.
Oh, it'll be in bookmarks, I'd imagine.
Well, but like the actual like library of what you've read and what you've not read and everything. So. That's not going to help that problem. What I'm wondering though is, will this encourage websites to begin resurfacing RSS feeds again? Because like just yesterday, I have 2 tabs open in my browser right now, neither of which I can find an RSS feed for, and both of which are websites that I would like to read on a daily basis. But I am not going to follow them on Twitter because I try to avoid Twitter. I use it only for the bare minimum of humans.
For self-promotion.
Well, like I follow fun people. And,
like who?
There's this guy I know named Chris DeBona.
Yeah, he's pretty fun.
But I follow friends. I don't.
Yeah,
generally,
that's what it's for.
Yeah. I don't generally follow. Like I'm not following Elon Musk or something. I'm not.
Yeah, I've never followed Elon. I just can't do it.
I only follow
so much Bitcoin. You remember how we talked about? Oh, okay. So remember how we talked about how everything too kind of became colonized by furries, and that kind of became what it was about, and it didn't ruin it, but it kind of made it so it would never grow past a certain size, right?
Bitcoin has the same problem with ransomware.
I think Twitter has that problem with Bitcoin. Like it turns out every conversation ends up being about Bitcoin, and I'm like, do I really care about Bitcoin chat? I really don't.
You're following the wrong people, man. The problem for me is that at the height of the Trump administration, it was always all about Trump, and I didn't follow any of those people. The problem with Twitter is that despite me not following anybody connected really to politics, the people I did follow would just constantly retweet their outrage of the day. So it always spilt in. It always spilt in, and it's a waste of everybody's time. Twitter is great for chit chat and sharing fun stuff, but it removes all nuance and all subtlety from any conversation. So nobody can take a joke. Everybody's offended, and it's a waste of time.
All the time.
I don't know. My Twitter feed is almost nothing but comedians, MMA fighters, and Stephen King.
Oh yeah,
that's
gotta
my
love
Twitter
yourself
feed,
some Stephen.
So.
I'm looking at my feed here. I have a lot of like developer relations people.
Yeah.
The odd actor, and Buzz Aldrin. Hawking his Apollo store.
I delete a lot of people from my Twitter follows. I'm like only at like 100
I can't bring
people.
myself to delete Buzz Aldrin, Rob. It's Buzz Aldrin.
All right, let me be clear. I've muted a lot of people that I didn't unfollow because I was afraid they would see that I unfollowed them and they would be sad because they're people I like. but also people that I like that need to shut up.
Yeah, I never followed Trump. I never followed Elon Musk.
But you don't need to follow them because of the two of them.
Everyone else will retweet for them.
Right. You're going to have, 7% of your Twitter followers are going to retweet those people. And that's just a waste of time. Like,
50% of the mainstream news is stuff that people have tweeted now. So if it's important enough, you'll see it.
But that's what I'm saying is that all the reporters moved to that platform, and then they dragged all of the news publications with them. Because if you got a tab that's got Twitter open, 18 hours a day, and you're a reporter, that leaks in. And I tell you, man, I looked at the submissions bin for how many years? 12, 13, 14 years I was looking at a version of the submissions bin, and I know what the quality of an uncut stream is, and I know what it does to your psychology. It's no good.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so the next story on the list, we got digital nose stimulation. We have stereo smelling. And
this is a family show. What are you talking about there, buddy?
I wanted to ask you guys, what's it like to smell?
I was going to ask you if you thought this might be a solution for you.
Yeah, I mean... So let me ask you a question, Ramaldo.
Ask me a question.
It was my understanding that smell and taste are inexorably.
Oh God, you're gonna make me do this.
And but you don't smell, even like if you breathe heavily through your mouth. Have you?
I've never tried breathing heavily through my mouth, Chris.
Was it a chlorine burn? I mean, over aggressive nose picking? What was it?
I do not know. From all my reading, the most common cause of a undiagnosed loss of sense of smell from early childhood is a virus. So presumably, clunk, I shoved something up my nose presumably I had a virus, but before the age of, let's say, 5 or 6. Because my parents told me they didn't realize I didn't have a sense of smell until the day that my brother came in from outside and asked Mom what she was baking and when the cookies would be ready. And I never had done that because I never would smell if anybody was baking something. And that would have had to have been at like age 6 or 7. So keep sticking stuff up there. Well, the article is actually about stereoscopic smelling, being able to do directions. And they're putting like things in your mouth and like I think they're vibrating or giving you some sort of haptic feedback. And I was thinking it'd be pretty cool to get that, and then I could smell in stereo while all of you suckers would just be smelling, in like mono.
Suckers.
Like suckers.
It does make it interesting to think that you could track somebody like a dog then, though. That would be interesting, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the idea. Is they talk about how, to pinpoint direction of smell, human beings have to angle their head and everything. That's not something animals do. I just thought that was interesting, but also because, I'm a cripple, man.
Yes, Ambaloo, he does taste things.
Yes, I taste. We can take.
He says he tastes. Who knows?
Yeah, what is he right now? Maybe it's texture. Right. Maybe it's maybe it's temperature.
Exactly. Yep. If I
he could be aphasic or synesthetic with his taste buds, but he's really feel budding.
I have a theory. I have a theory that I can still taste. I have a increased emphasis on texture and perhaps umami. And spice, like hot spice.
Is that your superpower?
Your taste buds would still work, so you would still have the fundamental building blocks. You would just miss all the nuanced taste stuff that comes with smell.
Well, like I've explained this to people in the past, kind of like this. If you put 3 Kool-Aids in front of me, and blindfolded me and had me drink, I don't know, like what, cherry flavored Kool-Aid and orange flavored, like 3 different flavors of Kool-Aids.
They're not different flavors, they're different colors. If you're colorblind,
I'm sorry.
Then that would be a good test.
3 juices of relatively...
Also, while they all are sugary, Kool-Aid definitely has different flavors. Chris DeBona.
I don't know. I only add red.
In the same way, soda has different flavors.
Ask the Wapani Boo.
I've had green. Actually, I should say I've had green and red.
So I can, if you blindfold me and put 3 different Kool-Aids in front of me, I could probably tell you Kool-Aid 1, 2, and 3. But I don't know that I would be able to tell you this is cherry Kool-Aid versus this is grape Kool-Aid or whatever. But although lime, I can, like the limes, I can feel like the citrusy stuff.
You mean light green and purple?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we talked about AT&T spinning off HBO Max Warner, right? I know we didn't talk about the giant Marilyn Monroe statue. I don't know.
We skipped the giant Marilyn Monroe statue, which is really funny. This is a Rob link, I think.
No, it was a me link.
Chris.
All right.
So Palm Springs is where a lot of Californians go to sort of like relax by the pool, professionally for a vacation. And they have a pretty nice art museum, and a lot of Los Angelinos go there to take a break. And they recently commissioned this statue, and they put it right in front of the art museum.
Classy.
Yeah. So the Palm Springians are like, seriously? Apparently, like, they bring kids to this museum and they do all these upskirt shots of the statue.
It kind of reminds me of the bull statue on Wall Street.
Sure, I can see why you would say that.
But you know what I'm specifically talking about. How the bull's balls are like shined because every single person that comes and takes their picture with the Wall Street Bull touches the bull's balls.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Next time you find yourself on Wall Street, man, check it out. I did it too. No shame in it. I think I actually have a picture of me cupping them. But like, I wonder if people. Well, this is really tall, so you can't really be super inappropriate with that statue.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a sign, no climbing the Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, you would need to form like a human pyramid to touch her skivvies.
So. Well, what's interesting about this is, those anime statues that people put on their desk or whatever?
Like, what do they call them? Marquise or marquise?
I don't know. But this is sort of reminds me of like a really big one of those. And I'm like, yeah.
I mean, that's big. That's like, what, 30 feet tall?
It's huge, dude. And also, I have to say, Palm Springs, they don't like it that much, They're like, can we not be the place with the sport, Maryland? Anyway.
I like that movie.
Gentlemen Prefer Blondes? Is that one?
Yeah. All right.
All right, Digital Nose.
Well, we have Paul Dano.
I didn't know that Paul Dano was going to be the Riddler. He has sort of a funny head, He
does.
For that role.
In my home, Paul Dano is a forbidden actor.
Why?
My wife universally hates everything Paul Dano is in every time. It's her kryptonite.
Okay.
I know.
What was he in that she hated so much?
I think Little Miss Sunshine started it off.
He was in Little Miss Sunshine?
Yeah, and he was also in another one where he was a writer, and he was writing a woman's life, and the woman is somebody pretty famous too. But in that movie, he's kind of just gross. Like, he plays a lot of kind of gross, whiny characters.
Icky.
Yeah. Although I loved him in Swiss Army Man.
I've never seen Swiss Army Man.
What? Oh, you gotta watch that right now.
I want to see it.
It's a mess.
See, he's great, and There Will Be Blood.
That's true.
Yeah.
So if you scroll down, I think you can find the Riddler.
He's just a nobody, Paul Dano is to me.
He's that guy.
Yeah. It's
that one?
Yeah, so that's what the new Riddler looks like. He looks like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction now. So there's that. Like I said, I'm not sure the green suit with question marks all over it is super cool either.
It's just the Batman.
Just a bit of departure
from
what you're used to seeing. So
different than the Jim Carrey Riddler.
Oh man, I hated that. It was terrible.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know anything about wool, but you and Bates were both all about it.
Yeah. So have you read it?
I don't read.
Nope.
So they're called the Silo series, Wool, Dust, and Silo, I think. And it's by this fella, Hugh Howey. And it was done. So when Amazon was doing this promotion called Kindle Singles, Hugh uploaded 3 chapters, and Kindle sold them for 99 cents a piece, right? And then he uploaded the rest of the trilogy over time, and eventually did it as books and then as a trilogy. And he tells an amazing story. So basically, he starts writing this thing. It lights on fire. People love it, and it's really good. I mean, seriously good stuff. And and so he's making 70 cents on the 73 cents on the dollar from Amazon for these things, right? Sure. So, which is a huge cut.
Oh yeah,
like a normal book deal, you'll get 15 cents on the dollar,
right?
From
if you're a Scalzi,
even if you're a Scalzi, right? And maybe a little more, but not a lot more, right? Because it's it goes to the Amazons at like half the price of the book.
You got to feed the machine,
price, and then half of that goes to this, and then this is anyway. So he's approached by all these publishers, and they're like, "Listen, buddy, you're the next hot thing. We're gonna give you 15 cents on the dollar." And he's like, "I have to tell you something." I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "While we've been sitting here, I've made that from the sales online.
Oh.
So come back when you're serious." And so he just stopped taking meetings for like a year. And then they came back with a number high enough where he's like, "I don't know, how about foreign rights?" He retained movie rights, book rights, but he's like, "Okay, all right, I'll let you pay me literally millions of dollars for translation rights and foreign printing rights." It's like
that's good
all
for
they
him.
could get. And they're like, "Can we put out a hard copy?" He's like, "Yeah, I guess." But it's just like watching him. He's just like, "Listen, I understand the economics of this." And they're like, "Well, we'll bring our editors and marketing machine to your book." He's like,
"Whatever.
What are you talking about? I've sold millions of copies already."
Right.
The market has been saturated, my friend.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm doing fine, thanks." Anyway, so I guess Apple TV ponied up, and they're putting together a show. So that's
okay.
Really
so
cool.
what's the? Give me the lead. What's the show?
So Rebecca Ferguson is going to play Juliet, who is an engineer in the silo. So basically, post-apocalyptic event. Everyone goes into these big silos underground, and Juliet is the engineer of this one silo, or an engineer in the silo, who is tasked with, I think, repairing the suits that allow them to go outside.
Fallout shelter lady. What's the antagonist?
The system.
Okay,
that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to ruin it. And it's worth reading. It's really good. So,
well, I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming it's worth watching, but
I mean, given that they just cast it, who knows?
Yeah. All right. And it's Apple Plus. They've got a couple of good shows, but they haven't quite, hit their stride.
For All Mankind is fantastic. Ted Lasso is fantastic. Mythic Quest, his new season. Mythic Quest has been really good.
Yeah, I think that they're finally getting their legs, because when they first started, it was a little rocky, and then now they're starting to we're finding our path.
I mean, I think that they're in the same boat as all of those services, which is if you can get like 2 or 3 shows that are must watch, then you're gonna have a good solid bedrock, and then the rest of it. Like I saw a thing recently that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was the #1 show for total viewed minutes for its penultimate episode, but for its season finale, it was no shit beat by reruns of NCIS.
Well,
because
okay.
I know, because you can binge them.
No. NCIS, and this is a hard thing for me to say because it's terrible. It has been the single most popular thing on anything, streaming, TV, broadcast, you name it, since its inception. There's a reason why there's an NCIS fucking Cleveland or whatever, right?
Sure.
It's like that show, I have no idea how, is aimed right at the heart of American viewers.
Yeah, they looked at all the Law and Orders and were like, what if we made these like 30% worse?
Yeah, and it had some Mark Harmon on it.
Yeah. And then proceeded to make them and 12 other spin-offs,
And sprinkle with
NCIS.
some bad actors. It's like
NCIS Mystery Baby Club and all the other stuff.
And I guess
Mystery Baby Club.
in this particular example, it's also a little bit unfair because even if you're a super fan of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you're only watching it maybe twice in the week. So the upper bounds, this particular thing was minutes watched. So even if you watch, Falcon and the Winter Soldier twice, you're only in for, 110 minutes or whatever. But you could literally sit down and watch 30 episodes of NCIS and really skew those numbers. But still, those prestige shows at the top that we talk about are great. But Friends, The Office, NCIS, that's the stuff that's getting, half of their subscriber numbers.
Oh my God, that's right. NCIS was a spinoff of JAG. So NCIS, JAG, NCIS Los Angeles, NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Hawaii. Okay. NCIS by itself is on its 18th season. 18! Who the hell is watching all this crap? And this is David Belisario just like, let me show you what I do with TV.
Right.
And it's just like, he is the 413 episodes of the main NCIS.
You thought Greg Berlanti was a hack.
So I don't think Greg Berlanti is a hack, but man, unbelievable.
Let's see. Ambalu, to answer your question, yes, I have done the apple onion test, and yes, I can distinguish between apples and onions. Let's see. Okay, we got a flower. We got a story about flowers, Rob.
Wait a second. I'm counting the number of cumulative episodes across the NCIS franchise.
You should compare it to all the Law and Orders.
Oh, I think it's beating it hands down.
Really? Because Law and Order's got like 20-year head start.
And just as many spin-offs for sure.
And with Law and Order, did you get to count the reality TV Law and Order shows? What was it, Crime and Punishment that they did in actual LA or whatever? Ooh, those were bad. I watched the whole season.
NCIS has something like 872 episodes attached to it through its spin-offs and spin-ins.
No, thank you.
Think of how much television that is.
I'm going to go ahead and just watch Tammy and the T-Rex today instead.
What is Tammy and the T-Rex?
It's this week's How Did This Get Made movie, and I'm 10 minutes in, and it's the worst thing I've seen in a while.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And yet you could watch 27 straight days of NCIS instead of that.
That's true. And in the last week, I actually also rewatched episode 1.
You do hate yourself. All right. So speaking of things that are hateful, no, it's a beautiful flower, but apparently it smells for like a half mile around it.
Yeah, it's a corpse flower. I've smelled one. I can't remember what botanical gardens I was at, but yeah, it is putrid.
Did you ever smell it in stereo?
I've not smelled it in stereo. And it smells exactly like rotting meat. So
it smells exactly like NCIS feels.
So the plant makes this big bundle sort of every year, but it doesn't always bloom. It blooms every 10 to 20 years, and no one's exactly sure. So it's a big deal when it does. And for some reason, this guy he had one that bloomed, and he brought it to this abandoned gas station out in the Bay Area, and a bunch of people got near it and gagged and took pictures. So there you go. This is what happens at the end of the pandemic.
Is that actual size?
Yeah. People are looking for any reason to go out.
Analysis of the chemicals released by the spotics show the stench includes dimethyl trisulfide like Limburger cheese, dimethyl disulfide garlic, trimethylene rotting fish, isovaleric acid, sweaty socks, benzyl alcohol, sweet floral scent, phenol like a chloroseptic, and indole like feces.
15 feet tall.
That is something.
That's crazy.
It's Bob. He's all right.
There should be, you know how there's probably web pages that list time loop movies. There needs to be a list somewhere of TV shows and movies that feature a plant that blooms every decade or something as a plot device. Because I feel like that was something that happened in a Dennis the Menace. And I feel like I've seen that as a premise in lots of movies.
or just rare flowers. One of the Anaconda sequels is focused on some rare orchid in the Brazilian rainforest that this evil pharmaceutical company is searching for.
Is the evil pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca or Pfizer?
It is neither.
Oh. It's AstraZizer?
I assumed they didn't want to be sued.
Oh. Like Idiocracy.
Yeah. Speaking of lawsuits, who's showing up at the courthouse today is Tim Sweeney, Tim Cook, and Phil Schiller in the Epic lawsuit. So it should be exciting.
Who wants 30%? That's protection racket money.
Exactly. You know what Hugh Howey says about that? All right.
What kind of app store would think that it gets to charge 30%?
That's a lot of money.
It's insane. The thing that always bothers, and because Twitter was doing something too. Twitter's got a thing where you can like tip people that they're testing, but they take like 30%. And it was like, businesses can't operate because Visa takes 2%. How can you possibly think 30 is okay?
Listen, Twitter's had flat user numbers.
Oh, I know.
For years. They have to drive other ways of making money. Advertising is capped for them at this point. Outrage only monetizes so far, and there's so many things you cannot monetize in Outrage because nobody wants to run an ad next to a picture of a dying kid.
I mean,
so what do they have left?
Facebook is fine with it.
Well, they have 10 times the users of Twitter.
True.
And the reality is also, I'm saying about Facebook, they have people engaging with each other like crazy, sharing family photos, doing all this stuff. Twitter is just, look at this thing that pisses me off. As you said.
Well, Outrage engine, remove all context, get pissed.
Yeah.
Business model.
Rawr.
Okay, so I only glanced at the Dropbox one, but the Viagra in sewers story.
Yeah.
I seem to remember this sort of thing has been happening for a while now, right?
Yeah, but it really
this one has a picture of a really phallic skyscraper. So that's what makes this one.
That was a choice.
And it really highlights why the sewer alligators in Seoul are so much more dangerous than they are here in the United States.
Really.
They don't just want to eat you.
You do not want to get jumped by a sewer alligator in Seoul. That's for sure. You'll be praying they just eat you, right?
Yeah,
Please.
I just love that this article here chose that photo. I don't even know if it's Korea, honestly.
Does it matter?
Also, reading through it, I didn't see anywhere where they put actual numbers. They just said it was 30% higher than other watersheds, which, makes sense because I would imagine any chemical is 30% more there than out in the country just because there's so many people.
Right.
No, the best part, the presence of the chemicals used in the drug phosphatase 5 inhibitors were high on weekends and in sewage treatment facilities in Gangnam, which is home to nightclubs, bars, and red light spots. We estimated the amount of PDP5I consumption was 31% higher than in areas with fewer nightlife spots.
That's kind of amazing. I'm impressed that they can actually test it with that level of specificity.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, there was a whole series of people doing tests on effluent for COVID,
Yeah.
And so, they're testing levels of COVID in the effluent stream as a way of figuring out the penetration of the disease. But yeah, this is something else. And you've seen stories where it's like the amount of cocaine, in London sewer, and that sort of thing. But
I remember you see stories every now and then about estrogen or something from birth control pills. That's all quantifiable in the water streams now.
And antibiotics.
Well, and the estrogen comes from laundry detergents and stuff too.
Oh, cool.
So yeah.
I got a question about why we're putting estrogen in laundry detergents, Rob.
Well, we're not actually putting estrogen. We're putting chemicals that fish bodies react to similarly to estrogens. There's a fancy word for that I can't remember right now.
Exactly. So here you go. It turns out cocaine's on the decline in London, and that's something.
Good for them.
But unfortunately, they are rising their antibiotic resistance. You know?
It's harder to get cocaine after Brexit.
These are great stories. If I were running a newspaper, I'd be like, where's my sewer story? Like once a month,
right?
Because there's some publication.
Also, what better place to have antibiotic resistant bacteria than in a sewer, right?
And we got to get them amped on cocaine and Viagra.
It's like we're purposely trying to make the next pandemic.
I got to tell you though, man, if there's Viagra and cocaine down there, maybe we should all move. I mean, I've already demonstrated I can't smell, so.
Yeah.
All right, the last one that we have is.
I've never been to Korea. I've always wanted to go.
I've never been there. I would go to Korea. I like Japan a lot, but I don't think I would dare go to China.
Geeks in Space Korea, kind of like NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah.
Geeks in Space Korea. Yeah.
Hey, I'm all for doing international shoots.
Right.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll talk to the management about it.
All right. Ambalu and Magnum PI. If either of you guys have hookups in Korea, let us know, because we'll live stream from anywhere.
Because people are super into international travel right now.
Right.
I know.
Oh yeah. We're all vaccinated.
Oh wait. Well, it's true.
So the last one that we had on the list is this is a weird one. A city pays $350,000 because they sued, and the headline air quotes hackers for opening a Dropbox link that it sent them. So they sent a link, a password encoded link, and then they sued people. They sued them for opening it.
Yeah, these two bloggers post about like stuff like police shootings, city employees who got busted, shitty things that the city's spending money on, right? Yeah. So some city employee sends them over the Freedom of Information stuff in Dropbox, but he added another folder in there that was not password protected that had some stuff that they didn't plan on sharing, right? Embarrassing things.
Oh,
so
wow.
So these bloggers got it.
Yeah.
And they started posting it. And then for the next 3 years, the city made these guys' lives living hell, tying them up in court, trying to bring criminal charges against them. And eventually they ended up paying them
$350,000.
Yeah.
Can you imagine start to finish? Like they paid the $350,000 after the years of harassment. So that means that a significant amount of multiple city employees, this whole thing probably cost that town, what do you think, $1 million? Probably more if you figure they had to have lawyers and stuff to defend against this. What a screw up.
So here's the worst part. Can I tell you the worst part for me in the story? So the lawyer's fees for these two hackers was $260,000, and then they got $60,000 each. And this has been going on since mid 2019. And I'm like, this is not actually a good deal for anybody. And like the city, they're not going to miss it. I hate to say it. It's like, this is such a small amount of money for the amount of crap they put those people through. I'm like,
absolutely.
They didn't learn a thing. They're going to keep pulling their crap. Malda.
Nobody's going to get punished. No, there will be no consequences.
There's no consequences, and there's no upside for the guys publishing the stuff. The city's not going to get better. It's not going to change. Absent them running for office and firing all these people, which will be impossible because it's impossible to fire civil servants like this.
I mean, on top of the shittiness of it too, just how long it went on shows you their sort of lack of understanding of, you sent this, it's out there already. When are you going to learn about how you can't put the genie back in the bottle?
Also,
that's not the way this works.
This is a city. A city should not be allowed to keep information like this from the public. The city ostensibly is the public. So this idea that they can, sit on this kind of information, it's just like...
Yeah, so it's just like, whatever angle you look at this, it's all wrong. It was all done badly.
So much wrong here,
Yeah.
This is like the kind of thing they would do in the Dukes of Hazzard.
Whoa.
You know, like
Whoa.
some corrupt Southern, you
Boss
think about
hog.
like some, yeah, like you're in my town now. I gave you that speeding ticket, so you're going to have to go in jail, and I'm going to take your car. And it's like, but this is Fullerton, California, so this is West Coast. With a smile, I'm going to screw you.
They lock up Cooter for posting his underground newsletters around the country, around the county.
Those old Duke boys have been collecting Bitcoin again.
Looks like that West Coast Dropbox was a bad choice.
Yeah. Probably should have encrypted it some form,
Well, I mean, and here's the thing, and I say this not as a proud Southerner or anything like that, but it's like, the South gets a lot of guff, but then, if you really want to get ripped off, you got to go west. You got to go to Texas. You got to go to Arizona, New Mexico, California. Then you'll find people whose whole lives are like, how am I going to use the machine to get after the common man? So
that's right.
I'm getting a little upset.
Yeah, you're getting worked up, man. Do you want to get me riled up about RSS again?
Yeah, man.
Sweet. All right, but we've been going for 40 minutes. Shall we go about our days?
Too long. Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
Important tasks to achieve today, gentlemen, like going to stores and waiting in lines for me. Yay.
Oh yeah. Are you getting your coffee?
I'll tell you after we get offline.
All right, sounds good.
Let's just say AT&T continues to not be my friend.
Oh no.
All right. Goodbye, Chris DeBona.
See you.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Fare thee well.
Fare thee well.
Bye, Ambaloo and Magnum PI. This Romper Room episode is over. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda. We'll see you guys on Tuesday for more Geeks in Space.